being reported that West Ham are not looking to renew Thomas Soucek's contract when it ends next year in 2027 at the end of next season. He's 31 years old. He'll be 32 at that point. And we'll be discussing is that a good thing? Should they give him a new deal? Does he deserve a new deal? Um, yeah, I mean it's crazy for this to be coming out now. But what do you think, Nick?
I'm upset. So Tomas Soucek is one player. When you talk about the modern day players and your affiliation to him, he's one person I've really affiliated to. I've done a video about him, about his bravery, about his insomnia, and the way he does. And he's one of them players, and I think he's going to be remembered as a great at West Ham. You know what I mean? Because he's been with us a long time and he scores important goals. And when you need him, he's there. Tomas Soucek. And I'm really upset. Am I surprised? No, I'm not surprised, I'm afraid, because we've got some real financial troubles coming up. And it's just one of them decisions I think they've made right now. I think it's crazy because you don't know what division we're going to be in, and I think he would be one of the more top quality players that would probably stay here, regardless of what division we're in. And it's reported that we're going to have to sell a lot of people. Yeah, I don't think it's a great idea, but I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. This football club has got a fucking long history of like chucking players down a fucking drain and treating them like shit when they really shouldn't do, and rewarding people that they shouldn't. Dimitri Payet and the Paquetá was one offering them new contracts. So yes, it would be the end of an era, and I'd be very sad to see Tomas go. And he's one of my favourite players, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I mean, you look how it worked out when we let a lot of those players, long-term players, go, the Creswells and the Soufals and players like that started last season. Soucek, he's always going to give his all. He's limited what he can do with the ball to his feet, but he's proved this season with the right players around him, he still has a
He's
part to
effective.
play.
Yeah.
And 32 in modern football isn't that old. That's how old he'll be when his contract's not renewed. He's a player that you could potentially get, another couple seasons out of. And, with that leadership and that experience of someone knows the club, loves the club, that's what you want. That's invaluable. So there's no saying that we'll have anyone else in the club that can offer that by that
Yeah.
point. So it is very short sighted, and they are just looking at, right, what players can we get off the books, what players can we get rid of? Because I imagine Alvarez, who's an experienced player, but he's probably not going to be here next season. So we've got some good young players in there in
I
that
think that
midfield coming through. We need that
I
experience.
was just about to say that. I think I think they've seen enough in Kante, and we've got Magassa. I'm really not impressed by him, to be honest with you. Fernandez, whether we're going to keep him or not, probably not. If I'm going to be honest with you, Popsy, and they're looking at this sort of next generation, and they're sort of looking at Tomas Soucek, and I don't think he's on great money either. Dan, I don't think he's on masses of money in terms of like modern day footballers. And they're looking at him and thinking, well, I think we'll have enough with Kante and all that to sort of like see him go. 32, I think is a bit, it's a bit premature. I think he was good for another year or two, but I think that is the decision. I think they've looked at the youth coming through. And listen, and I've always said this, I am an advocate for that, but I'm also an advocate for he's got the experience and he's one of them ones that could guide them. You know what I mean? I think it's a bit short sighted to be letting him go when you've got a load of kids coming through. Because as you say, Dan, when we've also let people go that have, you look at the problems we've had this season. We've had a load of fucking mercenaries at the club, and we've had to sell them and get rid of them. Um, Kudus and Paquetá. I put them down as mercenaries, to be quite honest with you. And Tomas Soucek is loyal. His heart's in the right place. He bleeds claret and blue. And I think you need people like that to instill that into the next generation. And I do. I think it's a silly idea, and we've given contracts to people that don't deserve contract extensions, and we've let people go that do deserve contract extensions. So, again, it's all about them prats upstairs, isn't it? So they know best.
Yeah, he's apparently on 90 grand a week. It's being
I thought
reported.
it was a bit less than that, but no, even at 90 grand a week, I think when you think about the fucking money we've paid for people, um, when you think about sort of the likes of like Chicharito and
Oh
Yarmolenko
well,
and you know and people like that, I think I think it's a bit, he's worth the money. He's worth the money, and they certainly fucking weren't worth the money. Danny Ings, people like that we've paid 120, 150 Pacatar, 150 grand a week to, and he's sitting there on 90, and he shows his worth every fucking week for me. So I'd give him 100 grand a week. I'd give him a contract extension, give him 100 grand a week, because it's
I
not.
think he would just take the same money. I think he would
He'd
take
probably
if you
take
said
60. He'd probably take 60. That's the way he is. If he knew that they was in financial trouble, and listen, you don't want to be listening to that with a club that 10 years ago was proclaiming to be the next fucking Manchester City when they moved to this stadium. Players don't want to hear that sort of shit, and the money that they've given to other people. I think, as I said before, like experience and the way he will guide these kids and the way he sets an example. I'd give him an extension right away, and I'd give him an extra 10 grand a week. I really would. So,
yeah. But
it's
yeah, like I think look, they've for them to sort of make decisions and have it put it out there through their favored journos or ITKs or whatever at this stage is premature because we've got another season to come. And like you said, we don't know what division we're in. Say we're in the Prem, we got to see what else we get rid of, who else comes in, and then you make your maybe you see during that season and see, well, what can he contribute, and I think he can contribute, but and then going into the following season, I think we'd probably look at it and go, yeah, we could probably do with another year or two out of Soucek. Like I said, 32 is nothing in football. And the way he plays, he's not someone that's relied on his pace. So it's not like, oh no, he's going to lose a lot of pace. The way he plays, I think you can get definitely another few years out of it.
yeah, absolutely. He's a threat in the air. He's a very talented goal scorer. He's got that knack. And that's not an easy knack to get from a defensive midfielder. A guy that knows where to be in the box and he's in the right place at the right time. He's got headed goals. He's got fucking poachers goals. He's got goals from distance. He's got fucking ones that go in the top corner. He can score every sort of goal. Tommy, listen, he's not the most talented footballer in the world. Yeah, but we've had top footballers with talent recently. Lots of talent. And it's not always what you need in football. You need someone with the heart of Soucek, someone that bleeds your football club through and through, that will run through a brick wall. And, what we heard about him at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of the season, it proves that he's struggling with certain things, mental health and, with insomnia. And he still fucking turn up and give his all every week.
Mm. Yeah, that's it. Like I said,
They're the people that are worth a salt in football,
when you're down in the shit, and we've seen, like I said, the players that you don't want when you're down here,
Yeah.
he's one that you do want 100% when you're in the shit.
And
And
there's a lot of shit
like
to
I said,
come, I think. There's still a
yeah,
lot
like I said,
to come.
we'll see where we are after this season. But like I said, we just, and I think all the players have worked hard and battled, but we don't know who's going to be in next season. And like I said, they were just so quick to just clear out any and everyone and not think about the ramifications it had on the dressing room. And that's what we got. We've lost Antonio as well on top of Sufal and Creswell, and a lot of them players. Like even Alvarez is someone who's got a bit of leadership, a bit of experience. We loaned him out, so we lost so much of that already. So
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully, like I said, he ends up, getting an extension or something like that. They brought Fabianski back. So you're telling me we can't keep Soucek longer? We can bring Fabianski. Fabianski hasn't played, and what I understand is Fabianski, he's big at value as being probably off the pitch and
Off the
what
pitch,
he
yeah.
can bring, and that leadership and experience. But Soucek can also contribute on the pitch as well as off the pitch, so it makes sense.
And I think,
And he's been starting to make that where he's starting near enough every game in the Prem. It's madness because I think he definitely will still have a part to play, even off the bench and things like that. So the fact that he's starting,
yeah,
it's
but
madness to think about.
you know who's fucking reported this, and you know the person's reported it. Why they think it's a good idea to do it this time, I don't know. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
understand these in the know sometimes. I really don't. Right, you know what I mean? And I don't know why they think it's a good idea, or if they do think it's a good idea, or it's disruptive. We'll have to get Sean back on for a chat. As a matter of fact.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%, mate. Like it'd be very, very interesting with all of the stuff and goings on and that, especially considering that he was like, there's no chance West Ham are ever going to get
Yeah,
relegated, and
he's an
we're
idiot.
still in the bottom three.
He's an idiot.
Um, as confident as we are that we think that we will have enough to stay up, we are in the bottom three, and we have been for a good portion of the season. So
Yeah.
to say it's preposterous of for us to get relegated, that was some take seeing the mess that we were in under Graham Potter. And fair play to Nuno because he's done a good job to clear up that mess. He's made some mistakes along the way, but he's done some good stuff.
Going into that, Dan, and I just want to, we'll probably finish up on this bit, but the mess that they've made of this football club and the fact that we've got to be letting players go and we've got to be balancing the books and we're fucking down in a relegation zone. We don't know who we can keep. We don't know if we're going to have points deducted. Just shows you what a fucking shit show of a club this is and what a shit show of an ownership it is. And the fact that they've got to be letting Soucek go because they're only looking to balance books. There can't be any other reason. They've given fucking big contracts to other people that don't fucking deserve it. It just shows you what a fucking shit show of an ownership of it is, what a fucking mess they've made of it, what fucking lies they told, and what fucking nonsense that they said about what the stadium would bring us. It's brought us nothing but trouble, nothing but grief, nothing but strife. And every day, and people like Tomas Soucek coming out, it strips the fucking soul out of the football club to balance fucking books that should have been balanced a long, long time ago. And they're fucking disgraceful, to be quite honest. We've had £200 million through this fucking door in the last couple of years, and we're still in this fucking mire. It just shows you what lies they told about this stadium.
Yeah, 100%, mate, 100%. And this is going to be, regardless what division we're in, it's going to be a very interesting summer to see what happens. And look, the protests are still going on. Keep that pressure on. They're doing the fact that they're doing everything to stifle fans, banning fans.
Oh, I've got another story, mate. I won't go into it, but I've got another story about what happened Saturday.
Yeah, that's it. Trying to ban a channel and get rid of a channel that's been heavily critical. And they'll say it's not them, it's the stadium, but it's like they're using the stadium to hide behind, a reason to get rid of us. And that's what I truly believe. It's not us. It's not us. Bollocks. So yeah, the fact that they're so
block my season ticket.
There you go. This is it. They are afraid. They're on the ropes when it comes to these protests. So the fact they're doing anything to stifle it shows we've got to keep up the pressure. We're going to keep up speaking out against them on this channel, whether we're outside the stadium, in the park, on air, in the pub, wherever. And all the protesters are going to keep protesting, and we'll support that. So yeah, do your thing to support it and get your red cards and all of that.
Okay,
so yeah,
thank you. Before we go on, thank you to our sponsors, OK Jerseys. You can get £15 football shirts with the code Nicky10 with 10% off. And we have got although it's sold out, a Trevor Brooking night coming up. So for the members, if you remember, you will have a full night with Trevor Brooking in the membership at some point in the next couple of weeks. So if you're not a member, become a member right now, and we're going to have a signed shirt to give away to the members from the man himself, Trevor Brooking. So go and get your membership right now. If you're new around there, subscribe. And also what we have got, we've got a new event with E13 Events. We've linked up with E13 Events, and we will be doing April the 30th. There is an evening with Colton Cole at the Harrow Pub in Hornchurch. So if you're local to that, go and get your tickets for that. I'm going to leave a poster right here. Dan's going to edit it in, I'm sure. at the end of the video, and you can go and get your tickets for that. So call the number. You can buy them in the pub, or you can get them online with the ticket link that we're going to leave in the description down below. But thank you very much for watching. God bless Tomas Soucek.
Well, as we're promoting stuff, the Clyde
Yep.
Best Story premiere, I must say, next week. You can go get your tickets. Clyde Best, I believe it's clydebeststory.com, or type in Clyde Best Story on Google. Get your premiere. Sadler's Wells, Stratford. You're going to have a lot of West Ham and football legends in attendance. So there's going to be, you get to see the film. There's going to be a panel afterwards, a Q&A, and get to meet some proper West Ham legends. Yeah, we'll be there.
Even if it's come to meet us, just come to meet us, you know.
Yeah, even if it's come to meet us, but yeah, chance to meet Clyde Best from you know, and the era that he's from, playing with the Bobby Moores and the Billy Bonds and
it's
that,
a pleasure.
You know,
yeah, absolute pleasure. That film, I've seen some of it.
So yeah, Clyde Best Story. Look it up on Google. 25th to the 28th of March is the premiere, so you can go get your tickets. So yeah, brilliant. Like I said, shout out to Soucek. I think he had a birthday recently.
Happy birthday.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was. I was last month. What am I talking about? Happy birthday. Thank you all for watching. One thing left to say. Come on, you Irons.